Hello, this is Angelo, and we are here with June's coaching masterclass. Today's subject is Make You Great Again. And I will be sharing the 3 steps in order to make yourself happy and unstoppable, regardless of circumstances, and especially if you are in this rare, if you are one of these rare individuals that you truly want to create a super June. Because let me tell you, before we begin, this masterclass is not for everyone. If you truly want remarkable results, rapid results, then it means that you truly want remarkable and rapid change. And most people will be surely at least afraid of change or resisting change. So this is why we are here. I want to share these 3 steps with you, and then I want to share the three traps that you want to avoid, because let me tell you, I've been like a victim of these traps in the past, and you definitely don't want to go there. So before we begin, as always, I want to thank you and congratulate you for being here, because you know by now how easy it is to get distracted and derailed from achieving your vision, from turning your vision into a reality. And of course, for the next 30 minutes or so, you want to turn off all notifications, like put this do not disturb sign mentally and emotionally towards, like every direction, and make sure that you're fully focused here on what we will be discussing. And of course, you're more than welcome to take notes, but always remember that you will have the replay at your disposal if you want to focus entirely on what we will be discussing here. So that said, I want to ask you, how do you feel? The question that I begin each and every webinar with, and the question that you want to ask yourself many times during the day, simply because the better you feel, number one, the better the quality of your life is right now, and number two, the more energy you have towards achieving whatever it is that you want to achieve. Now, let's dive in. So, I want to take you back to the beginning, what was like the summer before 10th grade, as it is known in the US, or like the first of the 3 last classes that we have here in Greece. It is, let's say, our high school is split into 2 3-year, let's say, parts. So what happened up until then? I was kind of an average student. We have like a maximum ranking of 20, and I was averaging between 14 and 15 out of 20. So what happened back then? I had a very intense June. So I had, like some master classes, let's say, for math, physics, and chemistry, because I was intended to become an engineer. And what happened was, from having 15 as my great result, 19 out of 20 within a month was like kind of a failure. And how did it happen? And first of all, I want to acknowledge the fact that it did happen. And not just that, it wasn't like a firework, something that, it was a happenstance, as we say, because back in 2016, I had another breakthrough June, because this was the time that I revealed my very first online program. And this was 30 days that turned out to be 31 days, because it ran up until July 1st. It was 31 days of live coaching. So I had 31 live sessions, as the one we are having now, consecutive days. And I only had an experience of just a few webinars. And how did I go about designing, creating, delivering, answering questions, coaching people at the same time while running my like mainstream digital marketing business? Because of the 3 things that I will share with you right now. And number one, this is like the cause and effect, input versus output. So I had a different input, which led to a completely different output. And this is like so misunderstood or so neglected, let's say. that if you truly change the input significantly, so will the output change. So, if you truly want a super June, and maybe you have gone through the definition of what super June means to you, or if you want a super July, or if you want any rapid shift in any area of your life, you want to make sure that you show up every single day, every single morning as your super self. Okay, no questions asked there. If you truly show up as your super self, which by definition is the version of you that owns the qualities to turn your vision into a reality, your results will be remarkably different. Number two, energy, a little bit of physics. Don't get, like freaked out on me right now. But energy is simply the product of power and time. And that means if we want to compress time, right? What it means that we have to increase the power, right? And I don't know if you've heard before of Parkinson's law, but basically, Parkinson's law says that each and every activity will take the time that you assign to it. So many times, we believe that what we want to achieve needs or requires much more time simply because that we use our current belief system and our current habits. We use our past and what we have achieved up until now to make sense of what can happen in a week, a month, or a year from now, or even 10 years. But what about upgrading these beliefs and upgrading your habits and, like having more support from technology, from customers, from clients, from partners and employees? The results will be completely different, right? Great. And the third aspect of these like remarkable Junes that I've had in the past was that I had to say, like unconsciously, because back then, back in my high school, it was like I had no way of knowing what personal development means, right? There was no internet back then anyway. And not only that, when I was doing my very first personal development course, I was on my early days of personal development, and I was still lacking, like the fundamentals and the discipline to understand what I'm about to tell you. The third, like quality. I said many more no's during this month and just one yes on my number one priority. So unconsciously, I was much more focused. Now I know how to systemize that. And in order to help you unleash that inner power and make sure that you can have a super June yourself or any rapid results from now on, there are only three things that you need like to tweak right now. And of course, it is a matter of decision. And that decision right now is to, number one, make complete, absolute peace with your past. In fact, you want to fully acknowledge, you want to fully accept, you want to fully forgive and love the whole of your past. So right now, I'm just a bit over 50 years old. So I have like half a century in my past already. I need, in order to relieve myself from any, like negative energy, any weight that I'm still carrying, that is slowing me down, I want to fully embrace my past, forgive everything that there is still like a bitterness within. And then I want to love my past because it is a part of my life. It is a part of, if you follow me for a long time, I call this my sloppy self, not because, like of all the bad things I did or the mistakes I made, but simply because it is not fitting to the image that I had created in my mind for my future. Number two, I want to fall in love truly, remarkably, with my present. Embrace the fact that I am upgrading myself in real time. Fall in love with the process. One of the best examples I can give you, I heard from Arnold Schwarzenegger, who said, while I was priming myself and practicing to become Mr. Universe, if I remember correctly, as I was in the gym, I was the only one who was doing the exercises and smiling. Everybody else was frowning and like was really bitter that we're doing like hours and hours of training. I was smiling because I knew that with every rep I was getting closer to turning my vision into a reality. This is how important it is to truly embrace this progress of yours and to truly be smiling because of the fact that you are in the process of turning your vision into a reality. You're in the process of seeing your super self in the mirror. And another example that I can give you, maybe you resonate more with that one, okay, because for sure Arnold Schwarzenegger's practice was truly extreme. So let's just say that you took my invitation and you have decided to come and visit me for a mastermind or just for vacation, let's say, in one of the beautiful Greek islands, right? So you're now, the airplane is about to take off. You're still at your hometown. Maybe you've had like a rough few months working, like really hard. And once you're in the airport, you're not there yet. You're not in the Greek island, like having your favorite drink or your favorite dinner with your favorite people from all over the world. You're still at home, but for some reason you have this big smile because you know where you're going. Same goes with you holding the image of your super self as you progress during the day and making sure that you enjoy the whole process. You're truly in love with the process of upgrading yourself towards your super self. And step number three, you want to truly believe in your future, have absolute faith in your future. And how do you go about it? Now you know why I persist and why I insist so many times in telling you that the action with the highest effectiveness during the day is your happy landing exercise, where you close your eyes. If you're not familiar with it, you close your eyes and you see, and most importantly, feel yourself at your destination. You think during the day from your destination. You don't think of your destination somewhere in the future, but you think from your destination. In fact, sometimes when I am stuck, I ask myself, what would Super-Angelo do right now? This is like one of the greatest questions you can ask yourself right now to unlock yourself. And recently, I realized that the happy landing exercise, as I used to call it for years, is not an exercise. It is a way of life if you truly want to change yourself, especially if you want rapid results. And you might, remember a few months back, another masterclass where I talked about one frequency. This is how strict you want to be with yourself and how you operate. One frequency. And of course you will be distracted. Of course you will be derailed. Of course some, like no longer serving beliefs and habits will come to the surface. And it's perfectly okay, because I will talk about it in a moment now. As long as you bring yourself back towards your super self once more. And the more you practice on that one frequency, the more you practice on the frequency of your super self, the more you will behave like your super self. And the closer and closer your supervision will turn into a reality. Now, the three traps that I promised I will share with you. The first one is, for me, it's one of the most bitter experiences of my life. Actually, it's quite recent. 2 years ago, I have decided to completely up my game with my business. And I made a horrible decision, a very painful decision. I didn't know it back then, but it was very painful and still is to some extent, let's say. What that decision was, I told myself, I don't mind if I get more stressed. I don't mind if I work even harder. I don't mind if I get more tired, as long as I can compress the time that I will turn my vision into a reality as far as my business is concerned. So in fact, what I did, I didn't realize back then, but what I did was I went against my technology for success that says that happiness is a prerequisite. Being, like completely in a happy and unstoppable state rather than a stressful state is a prerequisite for your success. So I went against that just because I saw some other entrepreneurs having greater success, thinking that since they don't mind about the stress, it is a good idea for me to follow their way of doing business. The next few months were horrible. It was the first time in my life that I was having so much stress that I couldn't handle. And I realized what Tony Robbins means when he says about your emotional home. And when stress became, my emotional home, even though I started doing my exercises and I said, oh, this is not working, I should change it, I couldn't get myself back to the happy and unstoppable state so easily and effortlessly. So I lost my sleep. I couldn't function properly. And why all that? Simply because I thought some other people are doing it there like better than I did. And I should follow another plan. So always remember that if you might have heard this before, if you have right now like many problems and you lose your health, no matter if it is your physical, mental, or emotional health, then you will only have one problem. So this is basically what happened. And for me, yes, it was like a bad period in my life for sure, like what I consider like the two toughest years of my life, but also it was a great awakening and a great and amazing validation of my technology. So now that I am, like back to truly focusing on my technology and making sure that I am happy and unstoppable first and focused and poised and making sure that I am bringing my super self into the equation, like this huge pool of variables that is called life, now I know that I'm on the right track. Now I know that I am supporting a system that does work. And if I need to like expedite results, I truly need to forgive my past, love my past, and make sure that I let go of each and every limiting belief and habit. This is all it takes. Do not stress yourself into success. Use like your best possible thoughts and actions to have like a flow towards success. Now, that said, I want to give you an example of what it means to truly be lightning fast, but yet not stressful. Usain Bolt did like 9:52, I think, the 100 meters. It wasn't because he was in a hurry. It wasn't because he was stressed. It wasn't because like there was a tiger chasing him. It was because he can. And another quote that you want to keep in mind is that slow is smooth and smooth is fast. And if you truly want fast results, you want to make sure that you are showing up in a calm, poised way and making sure that your presence expresses towards your outer world absolute faith towards turning your vision into a reality. So this is what happy and unstoppable means. In the past, I thought, oh, I need to be happy and then everything else will fall into place. No. Happy and unstoppable has two mental and emotional coefficients. Number one, being happy, making sure that you have elevated your emotional state. And number two, that your faith is so strong that you can actually see yourself at your destination, even though you don't have any proof yet. Next, expect to fall. That's trap number two. Everybody thinks that once this is how I got started anyway with my personal development. Once I found out about, like that I can upgrade my beliefs and I can do better here and there. What happened was I thought that my enthusiasm was enough. And guess what? Your limiting beliefs and habits still have some momentum. So expect that they will show up. And this is okay, simply because once they show up, they turn from unconscious to conscious and you can do something about it. And then you can realize, you can tell yourself, oh, I am being sloppy again. Or as I tell myself every single day, many times actually, sloppy. Now I use my magic keyword, the one that has to do with my number one priority, and bring myself back towards my super self. And number three, don't try anything. Practice. Angelo, I'm trying to achieve this, that, or the other. Angelo, I'm trying to lose weight. Angelo, I am trying to fix my relationship. Angelo, I am trying to fix my finances. If you're trying next year, like June of 2026, you will still be trying. Don't try to do anything. Practice the frequency of your super self. Practice, embody the frequency of your super self when? Right now, today. It's not something that will happen in the future. It's something that you are practicing right now, and the better you become at it, the more you act from it, and the sooner your results will happen. That's as simple as it gets. Last but not least, I promised you a brand new shortcut to success as I like to see it. And in order to tell you about that, I want to share with you what happened in last autumn. So it was the time that I was truly realizing, like the mistake I made by, like stressing myself to success, let's say. And I thought, what is there for me to do to expedite my success and make, again, myself like the student of my own technology? And of course, I invited a very small group of people to what I call for over a decade now, Finish Stronger Challenge. So in the past, the Finish Stronger Challenge, which runs from mid-September to mid-December, that's 3 months, or 100 days it was in the past. It was basically like a few webinars and some Q&A and some chat coaching, like answering questions for people. And last year, I thought I can do better. So what I did for the very first time was an intensive coaching program that ran every single week. So I was meeting with clients every single week for 3 months. Remarkable things happened. And I thought, wow, this is what intensity means. So I asked myself, what if we don't meet every week? What if we meet every single day for a week? What will happen? And with my Greek audience, I am like more accustomed with my Greek audience. We've been like with some clients, we've been together since the very beginning, actually, from January 1st, 2015, actually even before that, because Finish Stronger Challenge was even before that. So from autumn of 2014, and that's almost 11 years now. So we did the test, and it was amazing. It was remarkable. And right now, what I am doing is I have created a new coaching program that it is just 1 month. The first week, we meet every single day, 5 days. And the other 3 weeks, we have another coaching session each and every week. And what happens is that we meet so often that it is virtually impossible for your sloppy self to create momentum. And once, like, the frequency of your sloppy self subsides, the frequency of your super self can dominate your mind and your heart. And this is how you become truly unstoppable. So that said, do not expect from me like a great pitch. You know by now if we resonate. It's only a few people that I will be inviting anyway to this new program because I want to make sure that we're on the right track. And I have decided to give a very huge discount for the first people that will be courageous enough to take on to this challenge, this 4-week challenge, basically. So right now, I have an offer for just 497 euros. That is about 567 US dollars, I believe, right now, something like that. And out of 2,000 euros, that will be the normal price in the future time. So I have a signing up until this Friday at midnight that I will be inviting people to join this new program. And if you're willing to join or just see what it is all about, I have just pasted the link in the chat. So basically, what you want to do anyway, regardless if you work with me or not, is ask yourself, what do I really want? Because there's no right or wrong here. Do I want rapid results or not? Or do I want to take life, at a slower pace? But always remember, if you want to truly act fast, this does not mean that you're more stressful. In fact, once you unlock the flow state, you can achieve things by 11 a.m. that you wouldn't do by 11 p.m. if you were at a stressed state. And believe me, I have lived my life on both states. So I know what I'm talking about. I know what it means to write a book in 17 hours, write and publish it. The first people who got their hands on my first book that I gave away for free was just over 17 hours later from inception to publishing. It was remarkable. This is how in flow I was. But back then, I couldn't replicate it. Now I know what it's all about. Let go of my past, fall in love with the process right now, and last but not least, act with absolute faith. Consider my future, or what I call my super self, my super life, my super business. Consider it a fact, not something that I'm trying to achieve, an absolute fact. And yes, I will tell you once more my favorite example. If right now you're in an airplane and you hear the pilot saying, "Hello, ladies and gentlemen, this is the captain speaking. It is our goal to be in New York 7 hours from now." Everybody will storm out of the airplane, right? Why is that? It is because the captain is not broadcasting absolute conviction, certainty for the outcome. And when you're in an airplane, you want certainty from the captain. You're relying on the captain. In fact, you're betting your life on the captain. So, bet your life on your super self. This is the best investment you can make. If you say yes to what I have suggested right now, angelolabrou.com /FC, that stands for Freedom Coaching. Take your freedom back. Liberate yourself from your limiting beliefs and habits and storm towards your super life. So if you take on to my offer, you're not saying yes to Angelo. You're saying yes to your super self. You're saying yes to your super life. I will be more than happy to work with you in the next 4 weeks. If not, I will see you for sure tomorrow morning with the next daily shot of inspiration. And of course, once again, I want to remind you that you deserve everything you want, and we all deserve your best self. So that said, I want to thank you once again for being here, part of this amazing community. I love you. I'm rooting for you. And I know deep inside that soon enough, I will receive this message from you like, Angelo, I did it. I am my super self. I turned my vision into reality. Thank you very much for your attention and participation, and I will be seeing you soon with another masterclass. Ciao, ciao.